Hey guys, Chris Jones with Platform 9, product manager, look after a few things, Kubernetes, and now ArgoCD-as-a-Service. It's going to take a short video to walk you through ArgoCD-as-a-Service, how we implemented it and how to make use of it. On the screen right now, what you can see is a Redis application deployed into a cluster that's actually built and managed by Platform 9, all deployed using ArgoCD. This particular app, I do have autosync turned on, so if I was to go and change it in the cluster, Argo would go and override it. So let's talk about how we got here. Normally, if you're going to deploy ArgoCD in your environment, you do it sort of like a centralized management perspective, where you might have one central cluster in your environment, and you're going to call that a management cluster. You might install things like ArgoCD or cluster API into it, and then go forth and start managing your environment. So from Platform 9, that would look like coming in, adding in a Helm chart if you want to, and then saying, hey, ArgoCD, I'm going to click deploy, fill in the details and deploy that application. What we've done with the 5.5 release is we've actually brought in Argo as a service, so it's now running within each customer's unique and dedicated SaaS management plane, as we call it. So instead of having to go through this process of building a management cluster, installing ArgoCD, you're simply going to sign up for Platform 9, come in and click ArgoCD. From here, click Launch Argo, and because it's integrated with Platform 9, just log in, same credentials that you're using for your Platform 9 login. And here we are, Argo. One of the other elements that we've also introduced with this ArgoCD-as-a-Service implementation is the ability to automatically register clusters that are brought in and managed by Platform 9. So what do we mean by that? You can see here I've got a number of different clusters. These clusters are managed by Platform 9. So if I come back over here and switch to Kubernetes, go to my infrastructure dashboard, I can see here I've got a couple of clusters that I've actually built. So this is one on AWS and one in Azure. Also have the ability to run, on a VM or a physical node if you so choose. I also have clusters that have been imported. And imported clusters are also automatically registered into ArgoCD. You'll just notice here that they require external cluster operator to work. So one of these here is actually connected. So once you've built a cluster or imported a cluster, all you need to do, come over here, launch into ArgoCD. What I'm going to go to now is how to really sort of do an end-to-end deployment of an application. I'm going to come into my workloads area, and after it's done some thinking, pulling up all the data back from that managed cluster, I'm actually going to change to the namespaces, and I'm going to click add namespace, and I'm going to use Elastic, because I'm going to deploy Elastic. I'm going to choose my cluster, which is Heya, click add namespace. It's going to go off to the cluster, create that namespace. Now I'm going to come back to ArgoCD, and I'm going to deploy an app. What I've actually done ahead of time is come in and register a repository. We have a Platform 9 community repository where we're building out some applications you can come and test and play with. So I'm going to use one of those. I'm going to click New App, and I'm going to say this is Elastic. I'm going to use the default project within ArgoCD. It's got some tendency in here. Sync policy, I'm just going to leave as manual. And I'm actually going to choose our Platform 9 community demo apps. And I'm going to do apps/elastic. Let's hope I can type all this right. And I'm going to switch by name just because it's a bit easier here. I'm going to come down and find my Heya cluster. And importantly, set the namespace to Elastic, which is the namespace I just built. I'm going to click create. Hopefully I've done everything correctly here. Sometimes typos are going to prevent you from being successful. And ArgoCD is now going from ArgoCD running in our SaaS management plane, connecting down into that remotely managed cluster that's connected to Platform 9. It's going to start deploying Elastic. So if I come back over here, make sure we're on workloads, go to the pods tab, and importantly, check the cluster. But we can also filter this by namespace. So I'm just going to come down to Elastic to make it super easy. And immediately I can see here, I've got Kibana and the Elastic service. I can see the status, it's in pending. I can see the other ones in running. If you're ever wanting to know if this page is up to date, just quickly click refresh, and that's going to go and pull the latest data. You can do that anytime you want. This data is coming live from the downstream cluster, so depending how quickly it's running or how far away it is, you might get varying at different levels of response. This application is now deploying. I can switch back to ArgoCD and see its sync status and everything's looking good. But interestingly enough, here we can see that this is stuck in a pending state. And one of the cool enhancements with our latest release in 5.5 is really providing a much more rich experience for operators and developers to understand what apps are doing when they're running in a Kubernetes cluster. It's going to drill in to this pod and sort of try to figure out why isn't Elastic running. I can see down here immediately that it is the volume claim. It's in a pending state. I know on this particular cluster, I haven't created any storage. It's a new cluster. I probably should add a CSI driver, or because it's run 21 on AWS, I could probably use an entry. But to sort of finish this troubleshooting piece here, I can see this is pending. If we want to see if there's any events going on, I can come in and see the events that are running for this deployment. So 0 of 2 nodes available have an unbound persistent volume claim. If you're not familiar with Kubernetes, an unbound immediate persistent volume claim means you need to go and look at the storage layer or the storage configuration within your cluster. And there we have it. That's a quick introduction to ArgoCD running as a service within the Platform 9 SaaS management plane. It's there. It's as a service. It automatically connects and is integrated into any cluster that you either import or build within Platform 9. And if you want to try it out, we have a free platform. You can run up to 2 clusters, 8 nodes. You get all these features. You can get started immediately. Just head to platform9.com/sign up and get going. Thanks for the time.